Say when.
When?
All right. I believe last time I told you that the women had formed a co-op to grow vegetables.
Uh-huh.
Well, I didn't tell you how they formed it or what my involvement was. After I bought that first 630 acres and renovated that house, the women approached me about giving them 50 acres for them to plant vegetables on. And they would check with the local stores to see which ones they could sell. And the agreement was that they would give me a share in the co-op if I would give them the 50 acres. Now, it turns out all women who lived there, whether they worked on the co-op or not, got a share. The ones who worked on it, they got paid extra for the hours they put in. So I agreed to that. And so we cleared 50 acres off for them, got some fertilizer on it. And they said if I would get some pigs, that any of the waste vegetables, they could feed them to the pigs. And I thought that was a pretty good idea. So as far away as I could from people, I put in a very large pig pen. I mean, it was many acres. And it was kind of neat because on 3 of the sides, I made little smaller pens. So if a sow got where she's going to have piglets, we could drive her into that. And then she could have them and not be bothered by other pigs.
That was very thoughtful of you to do for that pig.
Yes. And I had more than one place for them to put vegetables for them to feed. That way I'd keep the pigs moving around and they wouldn't just poop in the same place all the time, because pig poop does not smell. That was pretty good, except Jackie, after I got the pig started, she wanted me to give a pig to each one of the women. It's my pigs. I paid for the pigs. I paid to have the pig pen built. And the pig pen, you have to actually plant the wire and all of it down below the ground, or the pigs will just root out, you know. But it worked real well.
Now, have you ever raised pigs before?
No.
So how in your dream do you know how to raise pigs?
I
or
have no idea.
Work equipment or whatever it is?
I don't know. Speaking of working equipment, you know, I had 2 lifts that lift up and you trim trees and all that. Well, we had a storm in the area. And the county, they used mine some, but they rented them from Burnett County and others. And they had the storm too, so they weren't available. So anyway, I let them use mine, and I had operators to operate them. I also have electricians that could actually get up and do stuff. But anyway, they wanted me to have more of them because they didn't like renting them from other counties. So I made an agreement with them. I would get 2 more if they would lease 2 of them full time. Now, they didn't have to use them full time, so I'd give them a little better lease because I could use them when they weren't using them. And then they could actually call for the other 2, but I had some time before I had to supply those. But 2 of them I had to supply immediately. So that was pretty good. So now
I'm going to lift this because there's a reflection right there.
Oh, okay.
You see it? So I'm
I see something.
I'm going to lift this up a little bit, and then maybe I'll put this on pause first. Now here we go without the bright light shining in our faces.
Okay, so now I own 4 of these lifts, and 2 of them permanently leased to the county, and the other 2 I use all the time nearly. All right, let's see. There was another thing that was happening as we closed last time. I was about to get into it. There was a man out there quizzing people about me and the property and all this stuff. And he didn't identify himself. Well, finally he did. He's from the University of Texas, and they're retiring their mascot, the Longhorn Bevo. And so he was checking my place out to see if it would be a good place to let him retire to.
Now, where did you come up with this in your dream? It's wild.
I don't know, but
There's so many layers and people and
Longhorns to get old.
uh-huh.
Well, at the house I built on the far side from town of my property right there, close to the house, I have a part of a pasture that I fenced off with wooden fences that has some nice elm trees on it. And the elm trees has been trimmed and all, so longhorns and all can get underneath them. And so I often bring the longhorns and have them in that pasture just so they can be seen from the road and all. And I had a big sign made, like a billboard that said home of Bevo. I think it was the 8th. So anyway, they could, I don't know why, but that's what it did. Oh, and let's see. Oh, also, Jackie wanted the property fenced off so people couldn't just drive through the thing and come onto it. So I did that. And the way we fenced it was with the cedar posts that we'd done and painted white and wood railings, and have that from the Lomita roadside all the way down up to the old Lomita Road, and then on both sides of it, because I have property on both sides, and down past my home. Anyway, it looks nice, and it only has one entrance into the main part of it down there where I had lived and where Martha lives and all. Oh, by the way, I also added another thing. There was a big tin barn that the old man used to keep the equipment in or repair it in. All. Well, I got another big long barn like that, and it's got tables and all, so the women could work on the vegetables, and they could call out the bad. Now you wonder, how did they get the vegetables from the field to the barn, and from the barn they called to the pigs? Well, we got carts very similar to golf carts, besides they would hold more people and bigger, and we had little trailers you could hook onto them, so you could pull them between the rows and gather vegetables, and you could take the vegetables like the potatoes that were damaged and all, and take them and throw them into the pig pens, troughs. They had troughs for this. You also might be interested to know the water that was used to water the pigs. I had wells. I was digging wells all the time. Oh, let me back up just a little bit. To put the post in for the fences, I also have a thing that attaches to the tractor that's like a drill, and it just drills out a hole for them to go in. So it's real easy to put up the post. Anyway, these carts are used to gather the vegetables and to carry the bad vegetables down to the pigs. It's very handy, these things. So I don't know how many we've got, but we keep buying those things and people keep using them. Okay, now here's something new. My daughter Martha has finished college at the University of Texas. And she comes back to the farm, and she gets a job in town as a school teacher,
Mhm.
but she lives on the farm. She often rides the school bus into work and home from the farm to the farm. Anyway, she lives in her house. She has a room upstairs, and she going with a guy named Larry Jones. I mean, she's very serious about Larry.
Do you like Larry?
Yes, I do. He's also a school teacher.
Do you treat your pretend daughter like you do your real daughter? Your dream daughter, like me, your real daughter?
Oh no, I treat them not near as well. Yeah, I guess. I mean, they seem to love me, and
I hope you
know.
love me more.
well, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's questionable. So anyway, I
want to be a better daughter than your dream daughter.
well, you got to be pretty good to do
She's
that.
good.
Okay. And to be my son too. You know, my son, he didn't go to the University of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Texas A&M
Mm-hmm.
because he wanted to study
Yeah.
animal
yeah,
husbandry and all.
you
Okay.
mentioned this in the last one.
Okay. Well, he's there, and he now is dating Rebecca Brooks, who's either the granddaughter or great granddaughter of Dr. Brooks, who founded the hospital there. It was he and Dr. Rollins founded the hospital, and the hospital is known as Rollins Brook Hospital.
But that's a real hospital.
Yeah.
That really exists there. So this real hospital is in your dream, right?
Well, the girl is in my dream.
But she's a fictitious person.
Yes.
But the hospital is a real hospital.
Yes.
Got it.
The hospital, real hospital in Lampasas is the Rollins Brook Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And in my real life, the daughter of Dr. Rollins was in my class.
Ah, okay. So this girl is probably her daughter or granddaughter or something.
No, of Dr. Rollins' daughter was in my class.
Yeah.
This girl is Dr. Brooks.
Oh, the other one. Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
Her name is Rebecca Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
We call her Becky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I really like her. Okay, that's where we kind of are at this point. Let's see what would be the next thing. Oh gosh, I know what it is. Oh, Jackie wants to have a dance. Now, we don't have a place for a dance. She wants me to build a place for a dance, like a tabernacle.
And who would come to the dance?
People who live there, and they could invite friends to come to
Got it, from town.
Well, right now, there's a lot of kids that are there.
Children of the workers.
Well,
and the
yes.
people who live there.
Yeah, remember I told you there was a storm and it knocked down things and all, and they wanted more of these lifts.
Uh-huh.
Well, also I had some corn planted and it knocked down my corn.
You told about the little boy and his mother and
yes, okay. Well, that's same storm, okay. But the kids invite the kids, so first thing I did is I put in kind of a playground for them with swings and slides and monkey bars, you know, climbing things. But somebody wanted me to put in things for some of the older people. Well, so I did. I put in 2 tennis courts, a basketball court, a volleyball court for the largers. And now Jackie wants me to build a pavilion to have dances.
Seems like a good idea to me.
Well,
I would go.
You'd go. Well, on the weekend now, you know, there's kids all over the place, you know. And I know that when I do this, there's going to be adults all over the place. And I really don't want alcoholic beverages there. They can have wine, they can have beer. Oh, and I found did I tell you I caught two of my cowhands drunk?
Nope.
Well, I did. And I fired them and they had to leave. But I told them if they'd straightened out, I'd consider hiring them back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they never straightened out. They never came back. Kind of hated that. I liked both of them, but I just couldn't have drunks on the property. Anyway, so now I've got to build this pavilion. And my thought is, if I have a pavilion and we have a dance every 2 months or something, that's kind of a waste of the pavilion.
Uh-huh.
So the floor of the pavilion is being made so you can skate on it.
That's smart.
So I'm going to have a skating rink.
Mm-hmm.
And Jackie wants to have a dance every month. And I've said, no, 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 no. You know, probably not in December, probably not January, maybe not November, probably not February.
Too cold.
Yeah, it's just, this is outside. And then we can debate whether it's every month or every other month afterward. And I know I'll lose the debate. I mean, she's going to get it afterwards.
Why wouldn't you just want to have it every month?
Well, I got all these people there, you know.
You like people.
Yeah, I know, but and I do like people. It's just so many of them, you know. Anyway, what else shall we cover tonight? Okay, my son Lee has now come home and he's dating this Brooks girl, and he wants to marry her, but she wants to travel and see the world. She doesn't want to get married and be settled down. So anyway, after some period of time, they decide to get married, and they do. And they get married in town.
Mm-hmm.
And then they disappear for a month.
Mm-hmm.
They disappear.
They disappear like you didn't even know where they were?
I don't know where they were. I just know they're not.
But you're not scared that something's harmed them.
No, I knew that they had just gone off on.
Taking a trip.
Yeah, but to take it for a month. Anyway, they come back after about a month. And they've been somewhere in Europe or multiple places. She got to do her traveling. So he comes back and starts working the cattle. Now, I told you how the cattle got started, right?
Yep.
Okay. And let's see, what else I need to tell you.
What other people in your 40s, which this is talking about, what other people show up at the place? Does the place have a name?
No.
Okay.
No, actually, some of them, the people approached me about buying their houses.
They wanted to buy their houses they're living in.
And I said, no, you know, so my property, you know, and this, I won't do it. They can buy a house in town if they want to and still live on my property and rent it out, do whatever they want to, but they can't buy my houses. And so they don't buy my houses.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the co-op has been rather successful. Did I tell you about putting in the water towers?
I think so.
Okay.
And
one of them's got Lampasas co-op on it. Well, I'll tell you what I didn't tell you. The entrance that goes up to my house from the highway, it's a double lane road. It goes on up there, and you can either park in front of the house or you can go around to the back and park in the back of the house. And I wanted to put something up at the front, identifying something, identifying the place. I didn't want it overhead because of my lifts and trucks and everything. I was afraid I'd run into it. So I have kind of pillows made on each side of the road. And there I have a thing identifying it as a 7U.
That's your brand.
Yes, that was my grandfather's brand in real life.
Uh-huh.
That was my
So another
grandfather.
real life thing came into it.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and I have some real life stuff in here.
How about I remember you telling me once about the Black family that came. Was that about this time frame?
No, that's later.
Okay. Don't tell it now then.
Okay. Did I tell you about the locker plant wanted to come buy cattle from me?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess Lee is now back. Did I tell you about acquiring Harry's land?
Yes.
Okay, so Lee wants to clear 100,000 acres over there,
Mhm.
and that's a lot. So he starts that clearing of that land. I think Harry had about 30,000 to start with, and the deal with Harry, my buying it, is the cattle he had there was, breed them and sell them, and he gets all but 50K or something from the sale until the place is paid for. But I have Mexicans, or what they are, come and start working on clearing the land. We first go with caterpillars and push the cedars down, and then they go in with chainsaws, cutting the post out of them if it's got a post.
Just cutting the limbs off.
Yes.
Mhm.
And we take the limbs and spread them out so they can dry out some. Then we take a caterpillar and dig a trench,
Mhm.
and we put those in the trench, those limbs that they've dried some, and burn them. And after we've burned the ones we're going to throw in there and they're through burning, we cover the trench back up.
Mhm.
Well,
So you put them in the trench, burn it in the trench,
yes.
and then
Well, there was a man I hired named Claude that the Mexicans just took as their boss, their leader.
Mhm.
And when I hired him, the productivity doubled from this. He really did a good job. Now, when I started burning the stuff in earnest, I really wanted someone there at night,
to make sure there wasn't a fire or
Yes, yeah. Now I'm doing water wells all the time, so there's water available. So he wanted to be the one that stayed there. He asked, could he stay there at night?
Mhm.
And I told him, yes, I had him hired. And he asked, could he bring his family?
Mhm.
And I told him, yes. So he was married to a Mexican girl, and they had 3 little girls, 3 children. And he told me his story. And his story was that he'd lost his job and he couldn't find another job. And so he stole the car. He tried to sell the car and got caught.
And that was to support his family. He
Yes.
needed money to feed his family.
Right. But the judge kind of understood the reason and all. So he was given a year, and it was let out in 6 months. And so he really liked the fact now he had they were staying in the bunkhouse, and but that's fine. And
Are the Cowboys staying in the bunkhouse too?
yeah, I don't quite understand that. And there's another guy that's there full time, Dan, and his wife Sue, and they live in the other house that's on the property. I really don't understand exactly where everybody was sleeping just now on that. But anyway, it worked out real well. Playing, Harry is one of my poker playing friends. Well, what he had done, I probably told you this about his daughter and all. But he really didn't like living in town. So I convinced him to come back and move into his house, what was his house. And then I had Dan and Sue move in, and Harry moved out of the room and had the private bath to it for them. and they just kind of took care of him, cooked his meals, did his laundry, whatever. And Sue's pregnant. She's gonna have a child. But that left a house that was a nice, small house, but it's nice, open. And so Lee and Rebecca, they move into that house. And they start clearing the land. And
But Claude and his family, do they continue to live in the bunkhouse
no, we build a house,
Okay.
build another house.
for them?
Yeah, that's the first building that we build there. And then I built 2 more buildings there. And in a funny way that I get my Mexican carpenter, he comes over and he does something for one of the houses.
Uh-huh.
And then through the week, Dan and Claude, they do what the Mexican done. In other words, if they put a flooring down over a pier and beam area, they match that. They do it.
On the other house?
Yeah, in fact, they'd helped him do the first, and then they go do
So
the
then they're
second.
learning how to do it from
Yeah,
him. I
from
see.
him. And they never get ahead of him. He's always ahead of them.
Well, they can't get ahead of him because they won't know what to do.
That's right. But they have to put in septic tanks and the whole smear. Anyway, they're clearing a lot of land and doing it so they can irrigate a lot of it. Put a big water tower over there with several wells feeding into it.
Mhm.
Anyway, it's going pretty good. Yeah, Lee wants 100,000 acres. That would allow him to raise, gosh, to have 10, 12,000 head of cattle there.
Mhm.
And so he can sell 3,000 or 4,000 a year. Brings in a lot of money.
Did you share what else happened when he was clearing that land and all? And doing water wells?
Share? What do you mean? You talking about hitting oil?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. Over on well, first off, let me say that they found pigs there.
Mhm.
A lot of pigs. Pigs that just lived in the cedars and all. So it built a pig trap. And the floor of it was, the pig's feet couldn't go through it. It was pretty, not solid, but it was fairly solid. And it had 2 compartments. There's a compartment close to the door, and then it had a compartment further back. And it would fit, or one of the trucks could do it. So they put it out on Friday and put some feed in it, but just left it there. Then they put more feed in it on Saturday, and then the second compartment of it, there was down, not on top of the food, but down in it was an ear of corn that had a wire fastened to it that went over and pulled the trigger to lower the front,
The door on it.
door on it. So, if they got in there and they ate and ate and ate, and then they pulled on this ear of corn, they were trapped. Well, first thing,
Have you ever seen a trap like that before?
no.
You came up with it in your dream?
Yes. But John and the Mexican carpenter, they used it first.
Juan, right?
Juan. They used it first. And the deal was they each got a third of what they caught. And I got a third. My property, my pigs, my trap. And I had a place to keep them. Now, they actually put some of theirs in there too. And what they did, one of them painted red around the tail area of the pig is there. The other one painted blue paint on it. And they trapped a lot of pigs and sold them and raised money to send their children to college by doing that. Then after they started doing that, then Claude and Dan started trapping with it over in that area, and they started getting a lot of pigs too. They're making good money off of this, and because the locker plant will buy these pigs and all, or they could even sell them at auction. Anyway, they get close to 100,000, and they've got sprinklers that they can water a good portion of this land off of this monstrous tank tower up here. But it gives, realize it gives the pressure.
Yes, when it's high.
Yeah, when it's high, it gives the pressure so that when they put sprinklers down here, they would.
You got to sit up a little bit because the lights pop. There you go.
Oh, okay. The water would shoot out quite a ways. Well, so Lee starts clearing over. If you're facing it, he started on the left side, and now he's doing some kind of over on the right side. And lo and behold, in drilling one of the water wells, he hits oil. And he just caps it off. He doesn't want the oil. And he keeps it capped off. And he doesn't want people knowing about it, coming in there and buying the land and start drilling all
next
these.
to it or something.
Yeah, because a lot of the land would sell for basically very little for a year's taxes on, because people had owned this and they got covered with cedars. The only thing they could do would be to clear it, and it cost a lot of money to clear it. Like, I don't know, quite a bit, $50 to $100 an acre or more. And so they would just, it had no value to them. So they just quit paying taxes. And of course, the county, if you started paying taxes, wouldn't pay taxes and maybe pay off a year's 2 taxes, you could have it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I got most of its land, is from the county's tax things.
Mhm.
Martha was really good at finding these things. Well, anyway, in buying this land over there that was going to be in excess of his 100,000 acres, he didn't even want to clear it. He just wanted to buy it to keep somebody else from buying it and drilling for oil on it.
Mm-hmm.
There was one pump jack. It went over there, the guy drilled, but he hit water and stopped. He didn't keep drilling. He was searching for oil. Well, if it had kept drilling down, I think he would have hit oil. When we hit oil was when we went down and didn't get water. We kept drilling to get water, and instead we got oil. Anyway.
But did you ever work in an oil field?
I worked in a gas field.
Okay.
El Paso Natural Gas. Anyway, so there we have a lot of land that's not cleared. It's just paying taxes on it, but it's not, taxes are kind of minor. Okay, now let's see what we've got. We've now got a dance going on. We've got a black man and his wife. Their car breaks down. So some of the men there drag his car onto our property down to that place where they work on things. And
are they going to work on his car or try to help him?
Yeah, they're going to try to get his car going. But Jackie, she gets him to go on delivering groceries, because they're now, man, they're doing a lot of groceries now. If they gave me a share for every 50 acres they've taken, I'd own a lot of it anyway. But he's kind of cruddy looking. And Nord is what he goes by name.
What is his full name?
Well, it's Larry Norwood.
Mm-hmm.
So he took the Nor with the D on the end, and that's what people have called him.
Nord.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But he's dressed terribly. And so one person called over near Temple.
So he's delivering places.
Yeah, now other people with him. But,
Yeah.
some of the stuff is heavy.
Yeah. So you need a bunch of people.
Yeah, so, but a guy over there called and didn't want him delivering because he looked so bad. So Jackie and his wife had gone to town, had bought him new clothes and some shoes and stuff to clean up and all. And so Jackie told him the story about where he came from and the fact that he'd gone and gotten clothes and he was going to be cleaned up next week and new shoes and all. But if he didn't like him when he comes next time and all, then he could come pick up his groceries. Well, Temple was quite a ways away, so it worked out okay. Anyway, now Nord has two children, Thomas and Frank. Thomas is the oldest one, and there is a woman who runs a preschool thing there, and the people pay her like an hour of their time working in the co-op for taking care of their kids. And she teaches them stuff, and then they go to the playground and swing and stuff, and then they come back and maybe take a nap, and then she teaches them some more, and then she keeps them building, and they're learning their ABCs. 3 letters a day, ABC. That's all they learn in one day. So
then
they
DEF.
Huh?
Then DEF.
Yes. And they learned their ABCs, and they could both write their names, and they start teaching their dad to write to the ABCs and to write his name. Okay.
Because he never had the opportunity.
Apparently not. By the way, his name is really Larry Norwood.
Yeah, and he goes by Nord.
Goes by Nord.
What's his wife's name?
Oh, I wish you hadn't asked me that. I did know it. It's a pretty name like Grace, but I don't remember exactly. It may be Grace. It's a pretty name.
Okay, sit up a little bit.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
I'm sorry. I just go ahead. Yeah. I guess it's time to have the dance. The dance is a big success. We set up tables and chairs kind of outside, and it doesn't rain. And she gets a band, and they come and play, and the people come. It's crowded, and there's kids all over the place during the daytime on the weekends. But people are inviting their friends. Oh, in fact, there's one of the girls who's in the first. She's in the first grade, or she's first grade, and Thomas is going to be in the first grade, and she's black. His friend is a little black girl, and so Thomas loves playing with the little black girl. I mean, they get along just fine. Anyway, the dance was a big success, so I'm sure that Jackie's going to want more of them than I want, but that's okay. I'm that way with my wife.
Both of them, right?
Yeah, a real one and my dream one. Oh, anyway, let's see. I have decided by being pressured to put in a swimming pool. And so it's put in. Oh, and we take the dirt in the dump truck, and it goes over fairly close to the pig pen, an area over there. And we go have women and men go and collect horse manure on cow manure. And we put down a layer of dirt and a layer of manure, a layer of dirt, a layer of manure, and making kind of a fertilizer for the thing. Well, we have all the cows, might as well. Anyway, while doing something at where Lee was over at Harry's place, there's a old beaten up shack on the left side if you're looking at it, but off of my property, but not far. And they find a boy and a girl there in an old beat up car, and they're teenagers. And it turned out that they had run away from home.
Mm-hmm.
They were being abused at home. So they run away.
Each, they're not brother and sister or anything.
Not even boyfriend, girlfriend.
They were-
know each other real well and know the circumstances of each other. But no, not even boyfriend, girlfriend. His name is David. And hers is a real pretty name. Like, it will come to me, but there are so many names and so many people. And she comes over and starts living with Jackie's sister.
Mhm.
Now he starts living in the bunkhouse behind Jackie and my house,
Mhm.
Which is going to be a big break for him. Something really nice happens there. Anyway, they build this swimming pool. And in the summer, it's going to come around. And it turns out that both of them, both kids, have taken lifeguard training and can serve as lifeguards at the swimming pool. So
It's
they,
amazing how everything, each of these people and opportunities all works together in this puzzle of
yeah.
nice humanity.
Well, there's also a man who works for me who is a trained lifeguard.
Mm-hmm.
So he's involved in this too, the swimming pool. Anyway, the girl was
Now,
molested by her stepfather.
uh-huh.
And the boy was just by his father was. Anyway, the girl,
Like you.
yeah. The girl's mother shows up. Well, they hire her to work in the co-op, and she lives with Martha and her husband, Sam.
Your in-laws.
Yes. Now, you know what Sam's profession was?
He was a principal.
Yeah, principal of the high school.
Why does she, who lives with them? The mother or the daughter? The abused daughter,
His mother.
mother, she lives with them.
Yeah, she came over to see her daughter, and Jackie hired her. And she's living there with them. And Martha and Sam are getting up in age. So, you know, she
Okay, she's helpful for them.
Oh, yeah, she cooks her meals, does her laundry, and she also works the co-op and gets paid for that.
And her daughter lives with your wife's sister.
Right.
Got it.
There's a lot of houses here.
Yeah. So, but these are all like everything you've told me tonight. How many dreams do you think that took place in?
Oh, 6, 7. I mean, I don't know. The dreams, I go to bed thinking about it, thinking that'll trigger a dream, and it has nothing to do with it. It won't happen. And then I'll go along for a week or two with no dream, and then I'll bingo, there's a dream.
Yeah. You ask me frequently, when am I going to have another dream? Have they stopped?
Yes, right. I hadn't had a dream since I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, if they stop, they stop.
And
But
like the girl that had been abused and whatever, was that in one dream finding her in the car, and then another dream was the lifeguard, and then another dream was
No,
her
I mean,
mother?
found
How
her-
much was in one dream?
Founding her in an old shack.
Yeah. Okay. Shack.
That was in one dream, and her coming over and living in the thing was a dream. The mother coming was in a different dream.
How about the
And
lifeguard? Same.
the boy,
No, when they were you found out they were lifeguards. Was that then 3 dreams, finding them in the
oh,
shed and coming to live with your sister-in-law? What
oh,
dream?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I think it was in a different dream.
So that's 3 dreams, finding them and the kids coming to live there, that they could be lifeguards, and then the mother coming.
Yes.
Interesting.
And there's one more step.
Yeah.
The stepfather of the girl
Mhm.
shows up,
Mm-hmm.
and he has a gun.
Mm,
And Nard takes the gun away from him.
wow.
They call the police. The police come and arrest him. And he goes before a judge. And the judge gives a restraining order that he's not to come back there near them or something. I don't know exactly what was in it. But anyway, it kind of got rid of him. But Nard took the gun. I don't know how, but he did take the gun away from him. So he's turned out to be good.
Yeah.
It's
Really helpful.
yeah,
person.
and the children, you know.
Well, Dad, it's 10:30, which is about 2 hours past your bedtime.
Just about.
And it is my bedtime. So
Okay.
should we tell another story tomorrow? Or
Okay.
do you have a final one you want to do tonight?
No, that's okay. In fact, it's probably a good place because now we're going to increase the people out there by hundreds.
Oh, hundreds?
Yeah, I'm afraid so.
Oh my goodness, you're gonna have a whole town.
Well, no.
So, okay.
Okay.
I look forward to that tomorrow night.
Okay.
Love you.
I love you too,
Mwah.
darling.